Welcome to Law Enforcement Coaching. Meet the coach with founder Tammy Sharp. Today we are speaking with one of our coaches, Mike Reilly. Get to know a little about Mike and see if he may be the right coach for you.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for being here. For anybody that's watching this video, the intention of this is to get to know our coaches a little bit and see if this is the right fit for you. So, Mike, thank you for being here.
Tammy, thank you for having me.
And with all of that, I'm just going to have you dive right into the deep end. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm retired from the New York City Police Department. I served as a lieutenant, and then I got hurt in the line of duty, and I had to retire. And since I retired from the police department, I started volunteering at my kid's school, and then I became a member of the school board, and I served in that capacity for about 10 years as a volunteer. The last 4 as the president, and it's been a real journey, uh, a path that I never thought I'd take, because being a police officer was all I ever wanted to do. So when I got hurt and I had to retire, I was in a dark place for a little while there, and giving back to the community, because listen, that's what we do as police officers, is public service, and I just can't shake that bug. So it's just something that I throw myself into, and I've been grateful for the journey I've had, and using some of my leadership skills and experience to help others.
So, when you got injured and you went into that dark space, because you're not there now. I mean, it's been a while, but when we talk, you're very positive, you're very motivational, and you're upbeat. So, what were some things that you found that helped you navigate, the injury recovery, and just that identity piece, I guess?
I think it was just realizing that there were opportunities there that I almost missed, because I was in that place where I was uncomfortable because I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do in my life. You know, I wanted to be a police officer since I was 6 years old, and for me to have to retire, I made lieutenant in the New York City Police Department with 10 years on, which is fairly quick, and I had visions of moving up and maybe making captain or going above that, and it kind of was, my dreams were squashed, and so that dark place I was in was like I lost my identity, I thought, and it's and then when I reinvented myself, by volunteering at my kid's school, I found a new passion and a new joy of bringing a smile to kids' faces. I would dress up in costume for stop and drop when we do it in the morning. So the stop and drop program would be where I would open the car doors for the kids to get out, so wouldn't have traffic around the school. And on the holidays, I would dress up in costume, so just to give them a little smile or whatever. But little did they know they were actually helping me,
Oh,
because that was really making me. It gave me purpose again, and that's really. I think that's what helped me really get out of it.
you said like a key word that's really, really important is purpose. When a lot of times when we lose our sense of identity, especially with law enforcement officers, a lot of people really do like, this is who I am. I am a cop. I am this. And if something does happen, and even maybe you make it through the whole career and you do retire, there's still that who am I now? And we see that all the time on our end where it's like, who am I? And almost a little bit of depression because you've lost that sense of purpose. I know most cops get into the profession because they want to serve and protect. They really genuinely want to help other people. So you found a new sense of purpose, and that was able to kind of get you through that healing experience. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, and I came up with 3 words that really identify, I guess, who I am. And it culminated in, after I was a member of the school board and the president, I actually ran for state office in New York State, and I was successful and I got elected, and I'm still in that role. But the words that really come to mind are service, commitment, and leadership. And this service is service to others, but most importantly, service to yourself. Making sure that you take care of yourself, because you can't take care of anyone else if you don't take care of yourself. And commitment is commitment to your values, commitment to what you stand for, helping others. And leadership is just modeling the behavior that you expect others to have and that you would want someone to follow. And, those three words are really something that I try and live by.
Well, it's really important that you said taking care of ourselves. I think a lot of people, especially when the nature is to be of service, we put anybody and everybody in front of us and we kind of take care of ourselves last. Like, no, I can, give to this person, or we know we're kind of burning out. We know we're running on empty, but if somebody asks, we'll still show up. A lot of times people, I know, active duty will still go into work sick, thinking that they're doing their team a favor when reality they would be doing a better favor if they just stayed home, got well, so they could come back 100%. So, having that sense of I need to take care of myself. That's one of the things with coaching is putting ourselves as a priority. So, if you were to talk, I'm going to go a little different than I normally do on these videos, but if you were to go back and talk to your younger self, what are some things that you would tell your younger self to set you up to kind of not have had to go so dark when you went into that?
I think what I would tell my younger self would be every time a door closes, a window opens and a window of opportunity. Because if you told me 18 years ago when I retired from the police department that I would volunteer at my kid's school, enjoy that for 10 years, serve as a member of the school board for 10 years, and then get elected to office, I would have said you were crazy. But, when I look back at it now, and I think about the journey that I've taken since I left the police department, it really is extraordinary. I don't think of it as I'm anything spectacular, right? It's just it's the service commitment and leadership is actually what has got me to the point where I am now. And it's just staying true to myself and true to my values. And I think that's something that oftentimes we we hide from ourselves with that because we don't we try too hard to impress others when we really should be worried about impressing ourselves and doing the best that we can. And I think that is something that I've come to terms with.
That's amazing. And we do. We try to impress others, and then we also compare ourselves to others so often, and we get that. The thing is, every single person has this limiting belief that we're not good enough, and that shows up in different ways. So I'm going to pivot into leadership. As a leader, what are some things that you think make up a really great leader, and then what are some things that you wish some leaders would maybe learn to be?
So I think what really makes a really good leader is someone who has patience, who has empathy, and really empowers his team or her team to try. Whether they succeed or not, a good leader will allow the team to fail because that's where growth really comes in. Where if you're so worried about succeeding all the time and having a win in everything, then you take away the opportunity for the team to grow and learn. And I think that is really something that should be embraced more. We don't embrace failure as much as we should, because failure, all it is an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow. And when we learn from our mistakes is really, and our failures is where we really develop as a person.
I love that. I can't agree more. Like I'm always about, fail forward, but also fail. If you're going to fail hard, fail fast, and then pick yourself up, do it again. And I think there are some leaders that are so afraid of failure, and some are really actually afraid of success. So they put themselves into setting themselves up to fail. But, letting the team, not micromanaging, not looking over and being like, no, 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 like with I'm a mom, right? So my daughter, it's like, well, you can do it the hard way and not listen to me, and I have to learn to step back and be like, all right, well, you're my kid, so you're you're gonna learn it the hard way. watch her fail. And I've been really mindful about teaching her that it's okay to fail. She just had that happen this last week and she was really beating herself up. And I'm like, in society, we condition kids, especially that if you fail, you screwed up and you weren't good enough. And that's where that limiting belief comes in. So shifting that, fail, cool, what did you learn? And then don't make that mistake again, go better, go bigger. So I love that you have that same mindset. So as clients are coming in to possibly work with you as a coach, who is your ideal client that you would love to work with that would light you up to work with?
I think an ideal client is someone who uh, is really has the power to look within themselves, to see how they can grow, how they could really expand on their potential. And what I mean by that is, being able to see where you can improve, where you can make progress. Because let's remember that this isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress. And it's having an open mind to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. And I think that's really who inspires me. Because overall, the client, uh, many clients may not realize this, but they help the coach just as much as the coach helps them. And I learned so much from my clients that it's it's really inspiring to me.
So with the younger generation, they're coming in, they're right now what we're seeing a pattern of that 7 year itch, where that 7 year itch is really hitting between like the 4 and 8 year mark a little bit more. And there's a lot of young professionals that have gotten in and they're not sure if they want to stay. And I'm calling you out on this because you're on the East Coast, you're in New York, you're in politics, you're all the things. You gotta have some thick skin there. So
Yes.
for these younger, you know, officers and law enforcement personnel and first responders that are coming in that are seeing, more negative narratives and the pressure of social media, stuff that we didn't necessarily have back in the day that's new. What are some things or guidance that you would have for them of not taking it personal and navigating some of the noise that could possibly take away from actually the job?
I think the biggest advice that I can give them is to set time aside for themselves to just meditate, to relax. And the rhetoric that's we've seen over the last few years is just it's appalling, unfortunately. And but the only way that we can really deal with that is to have an open conversation and be able to share how it's landing on you, how you are really perceiving and how you're grasping what's going on around you. And I think by sharing that and being able to talk about it freely uh, really helps get that weight off your shoulders. And by alleviating that tension, by sharing it, uh, you actually learn to deal with it a lot better. And I think that's something because listen, as cops, that's what we do. We keep things inside. It's been historically the way it's been. Far too often they turn to the bottle. They go out with their friends. They go out partying. I think we're coming to the point where the idea of having a coach, the idea of talking to someone, whether it's in the psychological field or whatever it is, just the stigma is really going away. And I think that breaking that stigma is a positive thing. And I think we're seeing that more and more where cops are actually being able to talk to people, to themselves, talk amongst themselves, and actually look to talk to someone that's maybe outside the job. And I think that's a good step. But I think we're starting to see the needle move on that, but not as far as it should.
I agree, and it's a start, which is great. We've come light years in the last couple years when it comes to actually being able to talk about things, and now it's really that pivotal moment of shifting the culture within each department. And part of doing that is the older officers teaching, mentoring, talking about some of the stuff, and helping the younger generation, not just keeping their stories to themselves. Because I've seen that in some departments where it's like, oh, they don't want to hear what I have to say. They do. They're kind of just scared to ask. um, but then also, if you know that somebody is reaching out to a coach or a practitioner, you talk about meditation. If they're doing something that is for their own benefit, to not like talk shit, basically. Don't put it down. Like, cool, it may not be your cup of tea, but at least others are doing something for their benefit. And then figuring out, again, coming back to our own self-awareness and accountability, what are we each doing for ourselves? So you are a great coach for those people that really are taking that self-discovery, wanting to improve, wanting to go a little bit in more, not pointing the finger out to everybody, but saying, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I want to do to get better. And then you can also help people, anybody that's going through that injury recovery, that new identity. And that's whether you're, leaving the career early or even the retirement, like figuring out what that purpose is. You're going to be a great coach for that. And then you're just positive. When I talk to you, like, it's a joy to talk to you. I'm West Coast, so I love your East Coast accent. That's just fun for me.
Thanks.
um, so as we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to put in, or do you have any, if one person were to see this video and they needed to hear what you have to say, what would that little piece of advice and guidance be?
I think if one person listens and I grab them with one thing that I say today, it's invest in yourself, invest time and your energy, your positive energy in yourself. And whether that's 5 minutes a day, just make sure you do it, because that 5 minutes can make the rest of the day great.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to piggyback on that a little bit, because I know a lot of people, they start their day, especially if you're in burnout, if you're tired, you're overworked, you don't necessarily want to go to work that day or whatever that is. The first few thoughts that we have in any given day, that sets the tone. And our subconscious is going to look, our subconscious always wants to make us honest. It doesn't want to make us a liar. So if we wake up in the morning being like, fuck, people are jerks, I hate my job, then your subconscious and your body's going to be like, all right, we're going to look for everything to make that true. So shifting that mindset of starting your day, especially with, hey, I get to go to work, I have a job, finding that positive reframe. Or if you're in a negative space, then maybe reaching out to a coach, someone like yourself that can help. Like, let's shift and figure out how to get that mindset going on the right foot right out the gate. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. For anybody that would like to book a session with Mike, you can go to the website, scroll to his profile, look at his availability, click, and thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Mike, for being here.
Thank you, Tabby.